We are live on the Virtual Grip Network for the last stop of round number 2 in the chase for the OBRL YesterYear Racing Cup Series. YesterYear, where past meets present. I'm Zach Chapman, a.k.a. Shaggy, along with my partner in crime, John Hine, and we're lucky enough to have the heartbeat of EGN bringing us all the sights and sounds, the one and only Ryan Seneker. Last week, the boys went to play at the Kansas Speedway, where we would see a driver with his back against the wall take home the checkered flag. Sean Foltz came into the night knowing he would need a good finish to even stand a chance to make it to round 3 as the driver of the 59. Well, he had plans this evening and won't be here to attend tonight's race. Sean put himself into prime position and used a little bit of pit strategy to get that 59 out front in the all-important clean air. Once out front, Foltz couldn't be denied and now finds himself along with Daniel Hill locked into round 3. But with all that good, must come with some bad. And the number 78 machine of Courtney Nelson now finds himself 8 points out of the next round behind James Hislop, who for now holds the final spot as we head into the final race of round 2 as drivers get set to go 55 laps at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But this time, we're turning right at the Roval. John, here we are, home of the NASCAR Hall of Fame and home of the final race for round 2. No caution's going to save you tonight as the yellow flag's been tucked away, and that tells me one thing. Drivers have to be on their game here because one mistake could take away their title chances. Now, like I was saying, John, last road course of the year, man. How do you get yourself into round 3 of the playoffs tonight?
Well, first thing is it's going to be avoiding trouble here. You know, that not only you have right turns, left turns, different speeds, different elevations even. You know what? This is a really narrow track, especially the infield part. So you know what? If you misjudge something, it's probably going to be big, and you're going to probably sustain a significant amount of damage, which can really take you right out of the playoffs. So, you know, that what should be number 1 on the checklist. You know, get a clean race in. You know, you do that, you significantly increase your chances to go into the second round. But the next thing is you need to have pace. You need to know where your rivals are, where you stand. You kind of maybe need to know what you need to do. So I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of drivers watching the relative or the standings in their cars. There's a little box that they can put on their screen so they can see that. So, you know what? It's just not a matter of racing tonight. You're going to do a lot of scoreboard watching, so to speak, and not make mistakes. And I'll tell you, it's a lot of pressure. You know what? We've been at this for a long time. We started all the way back in February, and essentially tonight is a night that a handful of drivers are going to get to move on. The championship hopes are going to live on. But there's also going to be some guys that, you know, right now their season essentially will end tonight as far as championship hopes for. And if you watch that cup race today, you know, Ross Chastain, you know, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to just say, you know, the emotion that he had getting out of that car after that race, that was probably the most raw, honest emotions that I've seen out of a driver in a long, long time. So, yep, this is going to be a big night here.
Well, let's go ahead. You know, we've talked a little bit about it there, and I mean, it is a big night. It's the end of round 2. Ryan, shift them up, man. Let's look at those points because tonight, pressure on. John, you see Courtney Nelson right now 8 points back of Hislop, and even, I mean, the general Dwayne MacArthur. I mean, 18 points sounds like a lot, but you know as well as I do, John, some incident points. A bad run here tonight. The general, he could be in some trouble as well, but Andrew Medlin and Courtney Nelson, both right around the same gap behind. I mean, there are 3 dogs fighting over one bone right now.
Well, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, I would say, you know, if you're Jerry Isaacson up there, 6th place through Tom Ogle there, the goal tonight, get through here cleanly. If you get through here cleanly, those guys should be okay getting to the next round. But if you're MacArthur, you know what? You need to pay attention. I mean, you're probably going to be in a good spot, but you can't have any mistake. can't have any mistakes. And you're gonna have to scoreboard watch to make sure some of these guys don't jump you. I figure, if you're MacArthur, if you can see, keep yourself in and around the top 5, you'll be good. James Hislop on down, though, you know what? You're gonna have to race. You're gonna have to probably make some strategy calls along the way. You're gonna have to push a little bit when it's needed. And most of all, you're going to have to do all that and keep yourself out of trouble. And that is going to be a very, very difficult task to do. And I would say also Brian Lynch and Victor Lane, those guys, they've got to win tonight. So you know what? They're back. You talk about a back against the wall. Those two guys, it's all or nothing tonight.
Yeah, and I think tough break here for the boss man, Victor Lane. I don't see him here tonight. So I don't know if he is just kind of thrown in the towel. I mean, he has gave it his all this season. That's for sure. And if you're wondering why, we're talking so much, well, maybe, hey, maybe we went a little early because we forgot a little longer, hey, to qualify road course racing. But what that does is I saw this man's done. I'm going to pull him up mid while I'm talking. We'll see if he's here. Daniel Hill, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy? Nope. He probably ran to the bathroom. I figured that was going to happen. But I'm anxious to see. I would like to know, John, basically, maybe you can answer for him here. Okay, you're driving the 7 machine. You are locked into the playoffs, okay? You know how good Courtney Nelson is at road courses. You're pretty close to his level. How important is it that you try to get this win here? And, you keep Courtney out of the next round. I mean, you're not trying to be that guy, but at the same time, I mean, you're playing chess. You don't want that guy battling against you if you don't need him there.
Well, honestly, I don't know if it's so much as you want to win to keep Nelson out. I think you don't show up to a racetrack and I guess, sort of put your helmet on, so to speak, without the intent of trying to win a race. I mean, that should be the overarching goal, is to win, especially on somebody on his level. So you know what? This is a chance for him to go win and have fun doing it. So it's always good to get those W's. So that would be my answer. I don't know if it's so much, hey, I got to win to keep other guys out. I think it's just it's a matter of, hey, we're here to win.
Now, John, I'm throwing you on the spot here, and it really is okay if you don't see it, but I know sometimes you read them off when you see them get clicked off on the screen. But I'm noticing I'm cheating over here looking at Courtney Nelson hasn't put in a qualifying lap. And I know you and I talked about last week, when he had that spin. I mean, they're honest about the penalties. You have a mistake, you get a penalty. Is there a chance Courtney Nelson was on that penalty report? That's why he's not putting in a time here in qualifying tonight?
Yeah, and shame on me for not looking at that before we came on air here tonight. But usually I wait and look at them to put the EOLs. But I would have to say, if he hasn't hit the track yet, he's probably on that list, which is even going to put him further behind the 8 ball. And he, just to confirm, he is not on the track. So, yeah, he's going to have to, get up on that wheel and drive and have to do it cleanly. And what's going to be, he's got 2 things working against him, the no cautions and passing. There's not a lot of room down through the infield. He's going to have to be careful, set passes up, and do the passes cleanly. You don't want to get any damage, maybe from running into the back of somebody. You don't want somebody to run into the back of you. Where you're,
and they do the incident bonus points, John. That's why
they do
points also so important.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, it's just it's a big hill to climb at a track like this. But you know what though? If anybody can do it, Courtney Nelson can do it. I mean, he's been one of the most consistent drivers. He's made himself known at, I would almost say, every race that we've done at some point or time or another. I mean, I know when things have happened and stuff like that, but he has constantly shown up at the front of races. No matter what the situation, penalties, no penalties, whatever the case might be. But you know what? It looks like that session's coming to an end, so we're about to find out the official everything here in a minute. So see where they all grid up, and boy, I tell you, big race here tonight, Zach.
Yes, it is, and we'll have to see. Let's take a look at that starting grid, and man, surprise, I just now take a look. man I was going to pull down for that interview. He is starting on the pole. The Black Cat, Daniel Hill. On the outside, Christian Lushin.
James Hislop and Tom Ogle are going to occupy the second row.
The general on the inside of row 3 to the top shelf, Greg McDaniel.
And if you notice, the general has accepted the nickname you gave him because it's right there on his hood this week. So hopefully we get a look at that. Starting 7th will be Shane Wisman. Next to him will be the 51 of Jerry Isaacs.
Andrew Kotska lines up on the inside of row 5 to the top shelf, David Brand.
Alan Wanamaker and Andy Thomas are going to start 11th and 12th.
Guy who needs a big race tonight, Brian Lynch, as John Hine mentioned, lines up on the inside of row 7 to the outside, Grandpa, Dakota Pishka.
Torrance Childs, Curtis Hazlip are going to be your last two qualifiers. They're going to start 15th and 16th.
Andrew Medlin and Courtney Nelson. What a row there, row 9. Both of those guys got to be on the charge here tonight.
Yep, Scott Negus, Todd Cousins are going to start 19th and 20th.
Tommy Embassy and Robert Borisco round out the field here.
Zach,
22 drivers.
And Zach, we do have 2 penalties. Andrew Medlin is going to be one of them, and Courtney Nelson is going to be the other.
Man, I knew something had to be off when you got 2 guys in the points coming to the all-important race here, not qualifying. That's tough here, but, I mean, you mentioned, John, if any drivers can overcome them, arguably they're 2 of the guys to do it.
Yeah, they are, and like I said, I've watched these guys enough to know that they've got it capable here, and the guys up front got to make sure they don't make it easy for them and make a mistake. If they do that, you know what, they're Courtney's path to the next round might get a little easier.
No grid here for Crisco either. Robert Gorisco not here on the starting grid. Not sure if maybe he'll maybe do a start from pits. I know sometimes that's the move here at the road course, but as of now, do not see him in the race car here. But we will see the pace car dive down pit road. And as we enter, what are we going to call this, John? A little kink here in the front stretch? Or what is the word?
The trouble area.
Yeah, as we enter the trouble area, we drop the hammer, and the Black Cat leads us to the green flag. But Andrew Lushin, look at him get this run on the outside. Does he touch? Oh, no, he doesn't push it here. Oh, I'm maybe going to cut back underneath. Not going to do it. Lushin here. Or how am I saying it? Is it Lushin?
Lushin.
Right?
Lushin.
That's Lushin. I've said it wrong 14 times here. We'll get it right eventually. As look at the general. He gets around Tom Ogle as well. Makes that pass look pretty easy. Tom not going to make the fight here on cold tires. And something John and I were, watching. If you didn't watch the NASCAR race today, spoiler alert, we don't run through that GT3 circuit anymore. It's a little different. It's kind of a straight sweeping right-hander over top of the hill into this tight hairpin. And man, look at that move by Medlin. He's one of those guys that gots to go, and he's doing exactly that. Courtney Nelson still 2 cars in between him and Medlin. Courtney pacing himself here. He knows it's going to be a long race. And another, well, not really a spoiler alert, but I was talking to John before the race. Been doing a lot of racing here this week, and I told him, man, I couldn't imagine not getting 4 tires coming down this pit stop. But you got to think, John, the guys like Courtney Nelson, Andrew Medlin, they may not have a choice.
Well, that choice is going to be made on, okay, how's the car handling? The thing is, when she gets tire wear, towards the top end of the tire wear, stopping becomes harder to do. And there's some high speed. And Courtney Nelson, I think, has got a drive-through on top of it.
Yeah, Andrew Medlin gets into the back of Negus, and I talked to John. That was, Courtney Nelson, what is going on with him?
I'm a drive-through.
Courtney Nelson.
He's coming to pits. Maybe a stop and go.
Pulling down pit road. I'm wondering if he thinks he can go the rest of the way on gas here, and this is just his time to do this.
The black flag. Nope. He's got maybe possibly a stop and go. I'm wondering if he didn't jump the start. Ryan, I don't know how hard it'd be, but if we can re-rack the start there, maybe see what his start looked like, that would be my biggest guess. It might be a little hard to do that with all the stuff going on, but yeah, that's what my bet's going to be, is You go back and look at that.
I rewound, John, just to go look here, and no, he's the last car to cross the start-finish line. He made sure he was dead last. And man, oh man, this is Dwayne MacArthur.
Well, you know what? Here, I am gonna say this.
Courtney Nelson, excuse me.
This is gonna help Nelson to an extent, because now he's got clean track. He's got clean track in front of him. Instead of having to pass all these guys and work them around, he can go out there and set qualifying laps at a higher rate of speed than these other guys. This, in a weird kind of way, Zach, this actually might help him.
And you're seeing there Torrance Childs looping around. That's pretty good job. I can tell you, I looped it there a couple times this week, and I hit the wall every single time. So good job there, Torrance Childs, roping that thing down and kind of getting it settled. But he's going to have to take it easy this next lap or two, let the tires come back to him for sure. Now, obviously, Daniel's still probably trying to coax this thing, taking a little easy, but fastest lap of the race last time by was run by Lushin, the man in P2, trying to get at the reins here. And really, man, you see that 3 machine not in the playoffs anymore, but would love to steal a win. The man behind him, though, is in the playoffs. As boy, oh boy, I can't tell who that is. I was watching in a different view. I saw a guy go off the racetrack. Tom Emissy, I think he wrangled it in. There is the 05. He's straightening it out. That was a long wreck. I'd kind of seen it in the view I was watching. He gets a little loose right here, rides up the hill, thinks he has it, gets in the grass, thought he saves it, yanks it back in, and then, you think, hey, I got it. You goose it up. You go around one more time, and that's a tough break there. We've all been there, John, that's for sure. You get some tires in the grass, and everything goes away.
Yeah, you get the tires in the grass. Even getting off the gas usually doesn't help you. Usually there's really nothing you can do but be a passenger.
And there you see Greg McDaniel get a little unsettled there, overshoot the corner. Now Isaacs thought maybe he'd try to force the envelope here, make a move. He's just going to slide in line. McDaniels overdrives one more time here, and now Isaacs, he's put in the predicament. John, I don't think we're going to see many passes on the outside here in the hairpin, but we will see an over-under. Big move there by Jerry Isaacs, and Isaacs moves himself on up into P6.
Yeah, McDaniel overdrove the corner a little bit, went wide, and Isaacs just thank you very much, and got around him quite easily. And Andrew Koska, who we've seen be really good on these road courses. Remember all the way back when we went to Dakota. I think that might have been his first start, and he made his presence known pretty quick to this league at that point.
Not to be the broken record here as we watch Kotska roll around, but just you got to keep an eye on that points battle, and it's just Hislop is just putting the pressure on Medlin and Courtney Nelson right now. The fact that Hislop, I was talking to John earlier, when I looked at those practice times, he was P2 and maybe actually P3. But the fact that, Hislop hasn't been much of a road course racer, that is somebody who is really, John, I think he put in a lot of practice. He's trying to refine the craft here. It's noticeable from James.
Well, and it behooves him to do this too, because the season's on the line here. So, yeah, I'm gonna bet he's not the only one that turned a whole lot of laps here this week.
Watching David Brand roll around in that 65. Now we swap over to Brian Lynch in that Hooters machine. He's rolling behind Andrew Medlin, I believe. Andrew started there in the back, has raced his way up to 11th. It's been a good run here for Andrew Medlin. And speaking of good runs here, Tom Ogle had one going into the little bus stop there on the back, but got a little loose. I thought he was going to make the move on the general. You can see that gap has opened up. I'm telling you, he was right behind that 83 as we entered. And as you kind of zoom out there, stay in that camera, you're going to see the leader there, second, third, fourth, and fifth. John, you can't ask for much more than this right now.
Yeah, I've been hanging out up in the chopper and watching from that point of view, and watching these guys and watching everybody being really consistent here and being really smart. But yeah, these guys are, not quite nose to tail, but they are within range where a small mistake could cost them a position here.
Yeah, and arguably, you know, I think we can't pretend. I mean, Daniel's looking at that relative. He knows that, and Christian is reeling him in here. So one mistake, and he could all of a sudden fall outside of the podium spots back into 5th. Not that it matters here for Daniel. Like we said earlier, he's one of the guys. He already won one at Kansas. So he is into round 3. He is just trying to, you know, add one here to the trophy room. As you see David once again here, who was that slipping up a little in front of him, thought he'd be able to make the move, but he gassed up as well, and that was Shane Wisman in the 34. Right now, these guys, I mean, they've been running bumper to bumper here the last 2 laps. Can't really decide what they want to do. You can see him clip that curb and float back towards that inside wall. You don't want to clip too much of that curb. Is the one going there? What are we going to call that? Am I safe calling that a bus stop there, John?
I would call it a bus stop.
All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, look at the 30.
I mean, Daytona. So we used to
he
call
makes
it
a
Daytona.
big move. Oh, he overdrives it, goes through the grass. I did that a couple
Good
times.
save.
Andrew Medlin here. Look at this 2-for-1 discount. Oh, man, he is looking to strike here. Andrew Medlin, he knows he's got to go, John.
Yeah, and he's picking them up and laying them down here. It's pretty good here, but he's got a long way to go to get up to our leader.
Yeah, 8 seconds about, or no, excuse me, 17 seconds, way longer than 8 seconds. I mean, that's a lifetime here. So he has got a claw. He is going to have to be perfect from here on out. Maybe hoping those guys up front get a little racy. But I got to think, you know, I mean, as we see Kotz go, I thought he was going to try to take a peek here on McDaniel, but McDaniel goes down and shuts the door. This is the battle for 7th. Kotska, doubt he's going to try to outbreak him here. You see he just falls in line. They're rolling up on somebody quick. Is that Jerry Isaacs, man? He was really woeing that thing down going into the bus stop. Not too sure if he maybe had a slip up. Tires were a little hot, but Isaacs, man, you better get that thing in gear here, John. These two are rolling up on him.
Well, that's the thing about road courses. You make a mistake taking off or something, they can cost you 5 or 6 seconds on that particular lap. And, you know, the field, you know, we're relatively early on in the race here, 8 laps in. You know, the field's relatively close. A mistake now it can leave you a lot of work to have to get it back.
I was talking to my partner. I believe the pit window is around that lap 35 to 40 mark. So I would think if once we get to lap 20, maybe you'll see some drivers try to short pit if they're stuck in traffic. But for now, look at the battle for the lead. Heating up. Lushin trying to reel in the Black Cat here. He is right there. Not going to be close enough to make a move this time, though. But, man, he's starting to show up in that number 7's mirror here.
Yeah, still though 55 laps to the end of this, so there's a long way to go. Now's the time to be patient here. Figure out where you're better than the other guy. I mean, if I'm in Lushin's shoes, that's the thing I like to do is kind of size up. Okay, where can I get?
Spin here for Negus in the 73. Not to interrupt you, John, but Torrance Childs and Negus kind of have the track blocked. Negus able to get out of the way. Now Torrance Childs trying to move here. They did an excellent job of keeping that thing to the inside. That is not easy to manipulate that back around here. And you can see Negus, it looked like he had some damage going into there, maybe slapped
Negus has had a couple times where he's made some contact. So, but as I was saying though, a lot of if I'm in
they were separate spins.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
If I'm in that second spot though, man, I am just sizing up my competition.
Well, you're getting past if you're in second right now, John, because James Hislop's looking on the inside. Not sure what happened to Lushin there, if he made a little mistake. Right now, Hislop on the outside. And Lushin going to be in the prime spot here. Oh, boy, that was close.
Alan Wanamaker probably, that looked like to be, or no, it's Torrance Childs that probably was not aware those guys were coming with such a big head of steam there. And he was up far though, out of their way.
I believe it was Tom Embassy who slapped the wall earlier when we saw him get in the grass. Christian almost did the same exact thing. He was able to keep it out of the wall, but put some tires in that grass in the same exact spot, and that's why here we go. Perfect look. You can see, gets a little loose, and boy, that save. Oh, man, as James Hislop now makes a mistake, and the General moves himself into P3. Move on up, General.
I'll be interested to see if MacArthur now gaps Hislop a little bit. But Hislop looked like he had plenty of pace here. So, you know, and Zach, you've talked on it a couple times here about tires getting hot and having to cool them down. And when they get hot, we got one off the track as these guys will go by there. But yeah, but if you heat the tires up, you know, stopping, turning, you know, even getting on the gas, all of that stuff, you've got to be really careful or you're going to end up in even bigger trouble. Oh, Lushin almost went out to the wall.
And we see the boys try to work around lap traffic here. Not too sure what you guys are looking at, as I'm not sure what's going on here with the Discord, Ryan, but I'm going to tell you what's going on here in the battle for, let's say, 5th. Tom Ogle running around behind James Hislop. Closest battle on track. Yeah, I'm only saying that, Ryan, because it says stream paused. Minimize their application. That's why. I just can't see what you're seeing. As Jerry Isaacs now rolling in front of Andrew Kotska. And I'm trying to see, not really seeing many battles. Third position is obviously starting to thin out a little bit. Courtney Nelson trying to bring himself back into the picture. He's finally doing that, John.
Yeah, and the best battle on the track from what I can see is the one between Hislop and Ogle. I mean, they are nose to tail circling the track, and it's a matter of limiting your mistakes. I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I mean, that's what we're talking about here.
Oh, no. Oh, no! Oh, look at that, doing the 360. Got to straighten it out, drop her in first gear. He's going to lose a couple spots here. But, man, oh, man, Courtney Nelson, if you're listening, that's got to breathe some life into that 78. I mean, he has to be all in the mail now. I mean, James going to lose a couple spots. That's going to make this more realistic. Same for Andrew Medlin, because Andrew Medlin running 9th. I mean, he's 2 spots behind. He could probably see Hislop kind of straighten that thing out. I mean, he's gonna be on the move.
Well, both those guys got to finish in front of Hislop, number one, and neither one of them are there right now. So, but yeah, falling back, yeah, that gives you a little bit of hope there.
And Hislop, we'll have to see how easy he takes it, because you could see, I mean, there was a lot of smoke. I mean, he was willing to just gas it up, spin it around, and he really got those tires hot. But for now, seems to be obeying him here. He's not really overdriving it, letting it come to him. And if you can have that 40 of Andrew Kotska right off the nose, that's normally a pretty good guy to be following here. Is Kotska just maybe not having the night he wanted here after a tough qualifying.
Zach, just to kind of get things into perspective a little bit, last lap, Dan Hill ran a 124.841. If you compare that, remember how I said he's going to have clean track and it might help him immensely? Courtney Nelson is lapping without any traffic around him, 24.133. So that is, that's a big lap time difference there. And if you could click that off consistently, once everything cycles through towards the end of this race, it's going to be real interesting to see.
Did you say an 8.41, John?
Yeah, he ran the previous lap.
P2 ran an 8.45. That is how close him and Lushin are right now. That's unbelievable.
And Nelson just did an 8.5, so that, you know, take that away. But I can guarantee it, he's running faster than half the field, though. So, I mean, Nelson is running leader pace. So, like I said, when everything cycles through, Nelson might not be too bad off.
No, and you know how you mentioned that 8.5. Yeah, that was the 123. That's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, he had everybody by a second last time by here when he can get that clean air. So we'll have to see, you know, how much of that is Daniel maybe hoping Courtney. Well, I seriously doubt Courtney can go the rest of the way on fuel after that stop. So, I mean, unless he can prove me wrong here, save some gas, I don't think he'll be able to make it.
Yeah, I mean, the one stop, everybody will have to do it, but the fact, like I said, he's been able to click laps off at such a higher, I mean, he probably spent 30 seconds in, but I mean, heck, man, he's gonna make that time up and then some if he keeps running these laps and clean air.
So right now, Daniel pretty far out front, but we are hitting. We're getting closer, I shouldn't say. Not hitting yet. We're coming to lap 14. So 15, maybe you're really good, according to me. You know, you can save enough to get it the rest of the way. But I don't know if I would push it that far. I'm trying to get to 20 at least. But, you know, some of these guys, and I'm trying to scan around here, John. I mean, Tom Ogle, maybe a little bit. He's right behind Dwayne MacArthur. But I don't see many guys who would use the short pitted strategy, but I do see Andrew Medlin. I have no idea what happened to him. He overshot the bus stop, had to come to the stop, and I don't know if he overshot the bus stop because, let's see here, I'm rewinding a little bit.
Yeah, we're hearing you locked it up going into the chicane, which, you know, you're going down that backstretch after going through 1 and 2 on that NASCAR track. You're carrying a lot of speed as you approach that bus stop. And boy, you know, sometimes getting loaded up can be really difficult, especially in these cars. I mean, Zach, you and I have ran a lot of laps at the 24 Hours a Day time. You come up on that in a quick hurry when you're hauling the mail.
Yeah, no, especially when, you know, I had mentioned earlier, Hislop had that mistake, and I mean, he could see him out of the windshield now. He was that close. And with that, I mean, this is, unless he's one of the guys who thinks he can make it the rest of the way there having to pit, this is not what he wants to do. And interesting enough, you know, John, both those guys, they've made pit stops. Well, look at Courtney Nelson and Andrew Medlin on the racetrack. Bumper to bumper here. Courtney Nelson gets around him after the short pit, but they're right lined up together here after both making a pit stop. Yep,
that's what I was saying earlier. If you look at his lap times, it was going to help him. He didn't have to have traffic where he was running 125, 126, and even 127 like the rest of the field. He was able to get back out there and just start cutting laps. And I think that's going to turn out to be an advantage. But I'll tell you, you know what? Two old friends, or should we say frenemies, Tom Ogle and Dwayne MacArthur. MacArthur's kind of stretched out a little bit as they go down the backstretch, and here comes Ogle right back. Look at Ogle outbrake him. Looked like MacArthur might have just let Ogle by.
Yeah, you know, I mean, how often do I get intimidated in those GT3 races by Big Sin? Just pull out of the way. That may be what we saw there is Tom was ready to go. You even saw him get a little squirrely on the brakes. I mean,
comes MacArthur
that was
right
a
back.
big send. And now, yeah, maybe the general going to give him a little taste of his own medicine here, try to pressure him back. He's going to have to work to reel him in here as drivers. We are on lap 16, and that's 30 to go. So, I mean, the pit window is indeed open here.
Oh, we got somebody making a stop. It looks like Lushin just blew the bus stop. Had to come to a stop.
How is nobody going to call me out on my math here when I said 30 to go? That is shameful. I am ashamed of this here. As Andrew Medlin goes off track one more time, that's just going to add to the incidents. That is not going to help Andrew Medlin try to get into this playoff championship. As we're watching the 6 of Andy Thomas, he's currently running 12th. He's right behind David Brand, who we were looking at earlier, that 65 machine. But David now, after getting around, is kind of pulling away a little bit here, starting to walk the dog, and gonna have to see if he can't go run down that 9 of Brian Lynch, but he is way up the road.
Tom Hemmesy's having issues too. Oh, him crawling through the bus stop. Todd Cousins also, he's already packed it up, and I think he's already had enough. He's packed it up and calling it a day for him too. So just kind of update on who's on the track. We got everybody on the track still running. Todd Cousins will be the first one to DNF.
Last time by so far out of the top 3 here. Daniel Hill is the quickest on the racetrack, but the top 3 pretty close, all within a 1/10 of a second here. So nobody really pulling, nobody gaining here. We don't see a big jump in lap time until we go back to Shane Wisman. He's running the 1:25.08 behind him, Brian Lynch, with a 3-second gap. So Wisman trying to run down McDaniel right now in that Cartoon Network machine, who I believe, don't quote me on this, but, you know, this race ends. Greg McDaniel should make it to the next round here. He's got himself firmly entrenched right now inside the top 10, running 1 spot behind James Hislop. 74 of Alan Wanamaker trying to change his paint scheme on me this week. Almost didn't realize who that was. Going high, getting out of the way here of some of your leaders. That's Kotska. Here comes Hislop rolling on the bottom. Now he'll try to fall in line. And, well, John, you know, I mean, whenever the good guys get by me, I try to use this free driving lesson. Just try to latch on here if you're the 74. Maybe you can learn a thing or two.
Yeah, but those guys have driven off from him pretty quick, and that's usually a problem I have. Is I'll do the same thing you and think, all right, I can learn something here. Look at their lines, and I drop in behind them, and then they're gone.
It's the gap out front now, 6.5 seconds. The Black Cat gotta be feeling good here as we approach closer to the halfway point on lap 18. Around at the lap times, actually looked like out of the top 3, Tom Moco fastest, only by a 1/10 here, but down in the 6s here, pretty competitive. You're watching the 78 machine of Courtney Nelson work around on by. He has, I mean, even working through traffic, we won't know what this lap time is till he comes around. But he is consistently lap after lap in the fastest car on the racetrack. But
yeah,
man, I am anxious to see what that penalty is or what the deal was there with Courtney Nelson, because that, and having to come down pit road early, that was a big deal.
Yeah, and, you know, like I said, though, giving him that open track, I think let everything cycle through here, and I think that's going to be a big deal for him. Probably actually turned out working out in his favor a little bit.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't have to pit again. I mean, if he's got to pit again, he is in deep, deep trouble. That's where I don't know if he can make it the rest of the way. That is a long, long way to go. So right now, I'm running outside of the top 10 in 12th. Let's see, we got any battles heating up here? Andrew Kotka has his lap right behind him. Me and the cameraman Ryan on the same page here. His lap has reeled him in a little bit. And Isaac's not too far up the road here as we ride on the nose. You can see Isaac's that white car up the road. And I believe the General, that's him right there entering onto the backstretch. So got 4 cars pretty close here. And James, you can see him trying to work onto the backstretch, really trying to cut straight in that corner out. But Kotska already on the throttle and starting to pull away. But James will get the benefit here of a little bit of draft. I know, John, you know, we talk about it a little bit. We won't have it much here, but you get a big hunkin' heap of draft, and all of a sudden you're right behind a car. You are going to feel some of that aero push here, so you got to be aware of that going into the bus stop.
Yeah, because if you start getting that draft and all of a sudden you're going 10 mile an hour faster than what you did the previous lap, it's not the aero push you got to worry about. It's your braking point. You know, like I said, I'm going to go back to Daytona with that bus stop. Most of my experience
What a
You get
setup
that
there
draft,
by Hislop.
it can really, really mess you up going into that corner.
Man, James, he clipped that curb perfectly, cut the corner down, and put a move on Kotska to put himself back into sixth here. Hislop sees the next one on the list. Jerry Isaacs right up the road. And Tom Ogle, if you remember, it was a couple laps ago, worked around Dwayne MacArthur. Well, he has since gapped Dwayne MacArthur by 5 seconds. And when we get this new camera view here, we're a little too close. I was going to say we're going to see Lushin right up the road here. Tom Ogle is running down P2, John, the 11. He has not won this round, man. He's hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got a little bit of ways to go here, but he's got a long way to go to get up the hill, though.
Yes, he does. But if anybody, you know, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Tom still does kind of need points. But, I mean, you look at that gap, you know, if you get 2 tires here, John, it'll save you about, what, 4 or 5 seconds on pit road as opposed to getting 4. I mean, is that something you maybe think about doing here if you're Tom Ogle to try to go win? Or do you think just the overall comfortability and bringing home the podium is more important?
Well, you know, Tom knows what his car is capable of and what he's capable of. You know, that's a decision you got to make as a driver. And usually it's risk reward. You know, that means you're going to have to get up on the wheel to track the number 7 down if he can get into second. And if you do that, you're pushing. And if you're pushing, the last thing you want to do is be trying to track down the leader in a safe spot. And then all of a sudden you make a mistake. And next thing you know, you're on the outside looking in because you're sitting in the pits.
Well, we did 20 laps, and look at that, John. First pit stop here to what I think is the normal cycle underway. Shane Wisman bringing the 34 machine down, jacking up the right side. It's going to get rights at least. But like I was telling John, I found at this racetrack when I've been doing racing, a lot of the stress, I mean, you got some severe right-hand turns. You're really kind of wearing out the left side. So I would say if you're going to 2-tire stop, it would be lefts only, as opposed to your normal rights only.
Yeah, I think there are more, you know, there's more stress put on those tires over a lap. So if you're going to do it, that without a doubt, I agree. That's the way to do it.
See Wisman right away working by Negus, even on those cold tires, not wasting a beat here. And Tom Ogle, he is trying to run down Lushin. We've got that gap down to about a second here. And man, Tom is really, he's not quick enough to run down Daniel. I mean, they're almost mirrors right now. There's times between those two, but he is running down Christian. And what this tells me is maybe Christian, one of those guys driving it like me, John, maybe a little too hard in. And you're starting to pay for it now on the brakes. You don't have that car underneath you that you did early on. Whereas opposed to Tom Ogle, a little softer in, faster out. Man, he is really starting to peak. Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, the biggest thing is the braking. You know, that's where you get yourself in trouble. And when you don't have the tires, you know, connected to the track because they're worn, braking zones can become pretty hairy.
Saw Andrew Medlin work around Andy Thomas there. That was for 13. Jerry Isaacs right behind the general here, Dwayne MacArthur. Jerry going to be close enough to get a nice heap of draft here. Does he maybe think about trying to outbreak the general here as we enter the trouble zone? Not going to take the peak to the inside. The general left the curb open, though. Jerry going to take a lot of the left side curb, and that one's dangerous. That one will really hop the car up in the air, but Jerry did a good job of wrestling that car back underneath him, and he knows he's got to make this move here because, John, that 92, man, he is creeping up right behind. He's running both these guys down. James Hislop finding some speed here late as well.
Yeah, I'd be really curious how much Hislop is tracking, you know, tracking up the 78 there to see if any sense of urgency pops up. I need to go because he's closing up through the field. Courtney Nelson, that is, driving up through the field here. So, I mean, if I'm Hislop, I'm watching the standings, and I'm well aware of where the 78 car is.
And Courtney, I mean, you've seen him drive on. He is pushing the limit. He put the left sides out in the grass. He is really trying to cut this thing down, find speed anywhere he can. And man, he is using it up here. He knows he's got to get by Brian here. He doesn't want to get slowed down. This is a big rhythm section. And, you know, John, not that Brian is that much slower than Courtney. That is not what I'm trying to say here. But maybe you can reflect it a little better there as Courtney wrestles that car back, gets a little loose. I mean, if you're used to, you know, driving at X speed into a corner, you back down 5-10 mile an hour slower. I know it doesn't make sense maybe to the people listening, but that car, it just doesn't handle the same. And all of a sudden, I mean, that wheel can get light and you just find yourself get loose and spinning out.
Well, 100%. It's the opposite of, you know, getting somebody in front of you and getting a pole and you get to enter a corner quicker. You got to adjust your braking points. You know what? If you're going to slow up a little bit earlier or don't have quite the speed, you can drive it in a little deeper. And if you don't, then you find yourself behind on the steering, and that can cause a real problem also.
See, Greg McDaniel there, he overdrove that little trouble zone that John quoted, and man, he paid for it. He lost a lot of time on that lap. Got to slow back down coming out of the grass. iRacing will give you the slowdown there. Yeah, even to rub salt in the wound, John, yeah, even if you really slow down, you cut that grass, they're going to make you slow down a little more. As that is not the place there and the bus stop, I would say, the two zones where they will really, really punish you here tonight.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the trouble zone, I mean, I like that little area down there, but I mean, at least when I was out here trying to get around this track, the trouble zone, I thought we went from turn 1 to the last turn.
Yeah, it doesn't really stop for me either. As I wish I could stop it, but it just won't. Is now Christian, he's gotten a little rhythm back. He's starting to pull away from Tom Ogle, get it back. But James Hislop now, he's coming down pit road. You see the 4 up ahead of him a little bit. Dakota Pishka, now he is a lap down, but he decided this was the time to come down pit road. So, John, I expect pit road here to start getting pretty popular.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this won't pull a lot of guys into pit road because he's going to come out and be blindingly fast. And, you know, for an undercut for him, because he was in contention there with a few other guys just right up the road here. So, yeah, we'll be... Now you're going to find out how much everybody's paying attention to each other, because if everybody comes in the next lap or two, they were well aware he came in.
No, and I can see here we're watching Hislop pull off the racetrack. Dakota came out a little bit in front of him, but he is a lap down. And James, this is as clear of a racetrack. I mean, whoever his crew chief is, that is, you know, that's the dream. You get off pit road, you have basically a quarter of this racetrack clear ahead of you. I mean, James, as soon as he gets by Dakota here, he can go to work.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what Tyler Courtney was doing, or excuse me, Courtney Nelson was doing.
Tyler Courtney won at the Grove, or no, he didn't. That was Sheldon Hodenshield won last night. The other NASCAR. What am I saying? You know?
I was like, Tyler's still recovering.
He's shelved up, yeah.
But now, you know what? Hislop was able to get around him, and now we got Jerry Isaacs to pit road here. So strategy is definitely playing out now.
Jerry was running either 5th or 6th there. I can't remember if he was ahead of Kotska before he came down pit road, but we're definitely starting to see those front guys start to come down. And I think Daniel has enough gap that, you know, he doesn't have to worry about the undercut. But some of those other guys, they better get in.
Yeah, and what more is, if you're up there in one of those contending spots, you do not want to speed. We've seen it happen a few times this year too, so getting a clean pit stop is imperative.
Jerry Isaacs, you see him peeling off pit road, but the difference is here
comes Hislop.
Guys coming, and here comes Hislop. We got a battle here. Isaac's able to shut the door,
but he's on cold tires
off pit road. That was, yeah, Hislop's got to go. He's got to know he's on cold tires, and you got to try to work around him here, going through the long, sweeping right-hander. But Isaac's doing a good job here, keeping the car pretty settled. Yeah, can Hislop maybe over under him here, pick up the throttle a little early?
Try it.
Boy, Isaac's defensive masterclass there on cold tires. That is not easy to do.
Have to start calling him the Iceman there. I mean, that was perfect with a lot of pressure in his mirror. Nice job for Jerry.
Here comes the general down pit road. Christian Lushin in the outside wall. And you mentioned, John, the trouble starts in turn one. It started in turn one here for Christian Lushin, and I believe just gets in the marbles. Just instead of cut down, normally hangs it out a little too high, and you get in the marbles, John, you don't have that grip.
Yeah, and it's just like all of a sudden, what it feels like to the driver is like somebody replaced the asphalt with ice. It's a horrible feeling.
Well, James Hislop and Jerry Isaacs get around the general using the undercut. Dwayne MacArthur is that black car right behind him. So right there it worked for those two gentlemen. Is Andrew Kotska now able to get by Lushin? Is Lushin, you got to think he is going to probably make the trip down pit road this time. I mean, this was a hectic lap. What better time than now to come in and get some 4 fresh tires on that thing? And maybe repair it. That right front maybe looks a little sick here. I'm not sure what he's going to do. He's going to yank it down. He's going to come down pit road. And Christian, after what could have been here, I mean, he still stands a chance at the podium for sure. He can drive this thing back up there, but man, it's going to be uphill tonight the rest of the way, John.
Yeah, it is. And, new tires, those got to make him feel like King Kong and maybe ease that pain a little bit.
See Hislop there still working behind Jerry Isaacs. They are coming across the start-finish line now. I'm staring at Christian Lushin's car. He just dropped the jack on the right side, jacked up the left side, so he is going to lose spots to those guys. The general drives by as well. Lushin now going to fall back to P8 for the moment, as we still do need a couple more guys to come down pit road. But here comes Courtney Nelson, and John, that's what I was worried about. Wasn't going to make it the rest of the way. You're going to have to two-stop this thing, and oh man, I hate to say it, but this may be the last week we see Benny Pink on that 78 machine.
Yeah, still a ways to go here. I'll be, just kind of tough. He could probably almost get away with just putting fuel only, because I still think he's quicker than 9/10 of the field, even on old tires.
You got a car around, can't tell who it was. Who were we talking about being the black and red and blue car earlier here, Brian? It's Hazlip. He towed it there, so he towed it. He went around in turn 1 and 2. Couldn't remember who changed their scheme on us. Ryan and I were talking about this beautiful paint job earlier the 91 had. You can just see he clipped a little too much curb, and man, I'll tell you, with second place Tom Ogle coming, he did a good job there of locking that down. That could have been nasty.
That could have been a disaster for Ogle if he would have got caught up. Remember, he's not locked in.
No, and Tom Ogle, I mean, he was about, 8 seconds or so back, but now we're seeing a gap to about 10. I mean, that was a big, really had to shut it down there, make sure he was okay.
Actually, Zach, I kind of almost wonder if Ogle isn't locked in now, because the attrition's starting to mount. Todd Cousins, as we talked about earlier, but David Brand has
down
now.
Pit road. Sorry to interrupt, John.
David Brand is loaded up. So is Dakota Pischke and now Chris Hazlip. So now you got 4 guys out.
And right now, Courtney Nelson, he is unlapping himself. He's passing the start-finish line as your leader going down pit road. So he has really, really got to go here. And that's going to have him sweating. As Daniel, he has been all but perfect here out front. But speaking of out front, new guy out front. Tom Ogle going to inherit the lead here. Is Andrew Kotska going to join the leader down pit road? Long pit road here. Is he still traveling to the box as Daniel Hill gets out of his? He is a long ways back. Is Daniel right now makes a green flag pit stop. Still comes out second, 11 to 10 seconds ahead of Greg McDaniel. Here is the Black Cat. We're not going to see him do anything crazy here, I would imagine, John. Look at that. No curve on the entry there on the outside. Now he's going to do it. Xander Kotska finally gets off pit road. But this opening lap here, if you're Daniel Hill, I mean, you are doing nothing crazy. You're just trying to warm up these tires.
Absolutely. You know, take it a little bit easier. And you know, we talked about rhythm earlier. It's kind of tough too, because you got to interrupt your rhythm for a good lap or two before you can get right back to what you were doing.
Tom Ogle now coming down pit road here is the inherited leader. He's had enough of it. We'll have to see. He should, yeah, he'll cross the start finish line here on pit road to get the lap led. Just watching Courtney Nelson reel in Andrew Medlin, who just made the move on Brian Lynch. Brian Lynch got up and out of the way. So Lynch will be Courtney Nelson's next target. And Nelson and Medlin, those two battling each other in the points. But right now, they know they may have to work together here. They don't want to race each other too hard, I wouldn't think, as Tom Ogle ducks off pit road. Gonna fall. Well, Greg McDaniel still hasn't come down pit road yet. So Greg will end up having to make his stop, as I believe he is the last driver inside the top 10 to not make a stop. Brian Lynch and Andy Thomas, the only other guys on the lead lap, to not come down. So that will cycle. Right now, Jerry Isaacs, he's got to know that. He's reeling in Greg McDaniel a little bit. He's got these newer tires, but he's still got James Hislop behind him, so he can't screw around too much here, John. You know, you end up taking it too easy. Hislop may get them both.
Yeah, and you know, Hislop would be keen to get some extra spots there. You know, all those points are so very important, especially now that we're getting down to the end of this thing, or in the second half of this thing.
Watch them all single file through the bus stop there. Won't see any heroic moves here yet. You know, they'll wait a little bit. They'll wait for the last 5 or so laps as the 34 gets a little slideways. Shane Wisman able to straighten it out. And Greg McDaniel ducks down pit road finally. Jerry Isaacs back on that final step of the podium here. But James Hislop, man, he continues to try to beat down that door. Courtney Nelson right to the back here of Andrew Medlin as you see him enter the bus stop. He is all over the 12 here. Can he get a good drive off? Maybe set him up here going into the final turn. He got a good run here. Going to duck to the inside Medlin. I don't think he's putting up much of a fight, John. Going to get up out of the way here. And he may be going to be one of those guys who just try to learn a thing or two here, because Medlin, he's got some pace, probably only about half a second off here of Courtney Nelson, and you know as well as I do, John, at a road course, that's nothing. That's a 10th here, 2 tenths there, and you're right on pace with that guy.
Yeah, that means you're probably off just a couple of braking zones or something like that, or, you know, or you're picking the throttle up. That's the difference of maybe, you know, like I said, maybe just how you're getting in and out of a single turn.
Isaacs, oh man, I thought he was going to overshoot that and kiss the wall. He's able to wrestle it down. Hislop almost followed him and did the same thing. Looked like both those guys had to burn the throttle. And right now, you know, not wishing any luck towards the Black Cat here, but unless something happens here, he's 14 seconds up the road. We may have a battle for second. I mean, Isaacs and Hislop, they're not going away. They're starting to reel in Tom Ogle, but Tom, another one, man. He's not at that sevens level, but those guys, they just haven't made any mistakes here tonight, John.
Well, they must have heard our pre-race spiel about being mistake-free, because that's exactly what they've gone out and done, and they're reaping the benefits of that.
See Hislop there being really aggressive there. Cuts it out, floats it, just trying to get any little bit of draft anywhere he can. Follows down, tries to get some air on the nose, runs the inside, and he's been running this aggressive cut down. He catches him here in the center of the corner, able to get into the throttle, but man, he's still having to crank some wheel into it. And then Isaac's already pulling away, and Hislop can't get close enough to make this move, but you can see how much the draft helps as he reels him in. Gonna lift a little early here, doesn't want to get to the back of him. continues to just saw away at that gap. Ooh, Hislop with a good catch there. You can see he got a little snappy there. And man, that is not easy to catch that happy race car. It was Tom Ogle. He comes up on a lap car. The lap car overshoots the inside.
Wow.
They almost make contact. And Tom Ogle is going to lose about 2 seconds there to the guys behind. Well, now the lap car may become an issue here for the 51 of Isaacs. He gets to the inside, but he had to slow down a little bit. Well, I mean, that's only really fair there, I think, because Tom Ogle, you know, I would call a spade here, John. We've talked to him before. I know how mad he is in that race car right now, and he's got to do his best to calm himself down here because he could easily lose this P2 if he doesn't get rid of that red mist here.
I'd be pretty ticked off too, you know, and as somebody who does get hot under the collar under, and yeah, you know what, you got to get past it. Sometimes it's easier than others, you know. You know, and to be honest, you know, and Torrance, I don't know that did. I think they just caught Torrance by surprise, but. You know, it's funny, being ticked off at getting over it as a driver, it depends on who ticked you off. If it's a driver that, hey, you know, doesn't really cause a whole lot of problems, probably just made a mistake, it's so easy to put that in the rearview mirror. But if it's a guy that you've had issues with, it can take you quite a few laps to kind of move on.
Rolling off the back of Ogle there, you can see He's a couple laps down, but he's ducking down pit road. That was the car slow on the inside, and Ogle there kisses that wall a little bit. He's driving it. I mean, he's got this thing back under control. Last time by, he had those guys behind by almost a second here.
Yeah, he's
not as quick as your leader, but yeah, he put it back on him there. He's driving.
I think Tom is probably content.
That lap time.
Yeah, I'm a bet
24-2 for Lushin last time by. He's on the move now, John.
Yeah, and I'll bet Tom is content being where he's at because by now he probably knows he doesn't have a whole lot for Hill out there out front. So this is a good spot for him. Not a whole lot of traffic, not a whole lot of pressure from behind. So yeah, stretch it out a little bit and just get in a good spot and run.
Oh, I just heard somebody spin. Couldn't tell who it was. Scott Negus there in turn 1, I believe, able to straighten it out. That was another one of those trouble zones. Good job by Negus straightening that out because there were some people getting ready to roll through. That could have been bad news. Here is leader, one of them here as he's getting ready to enter turn 1. Greg McDaniel, he is trying to hold off the hard-charging Courtney Nelson.
Yeah, they got a lap car between them and Andy Thomas, but that's the next one that's on Nelson's radar. And actually, he's got 2 spots right up the track there because McDaniel's sitting there, and then in front of him is Andrew Koska there. So that's 7th and 8th for him, and they're not too far off in the distance.
And, you know, with that penalty, not sure what happened, but Courtney is going to wonder what if. I mean, that first time, it was a 30-second pit stop where he had to sit in there, plus the drive time. This time, total pit loss time around 45 seconds. I mean, you double that, John, and you add, you know, that extra 15, 20 seconds for the penalty the first time. Courtney Nelson is way out front if this thing, you know, goes in a different dimension. But Andrew Medlin back down pit road. Not too sure what's going on with Medlin, but I can tell you
Lynch is coming too.
That's probably going to cost those two, and I don't think Andrew Medlin is going to be able to make it to the next round now.
Yeah.
Along with Brian Lynch. You're right. Brian Lynch, another playoff coming down pit road. That's going to be the writing on the wall there.
You know, Dan Hill is going to go back and watch this broadcast, and he's going to be like, you know, I didn't get any TV time. A lot of things going on behind him.
Well, I tried to, you know, he probably had to use the men's room here before the race. I knew this was going to happen if he was starting out front. I was going to try to interview him, talk to him a little bit. But instead, he decided to walk away. He's 15 and a half seconds out front. I mean, maybe just have a little hiccup here, Daniel. Slide a little bit. Give us something.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you though. If someone gave me a choice between being on TV a whole lot or talking to the VGN and Victory Lane, give me the interview in Victory Lane over a lot of TV time.
Yeah, especially, you know, in the playoff series. It's unbelievable. I mean, John, you know, we've talked about it week after week, but you can definitely, I would say, take some of the credit here. I mean, you pronounced him the Black Cat, and all of a sudden, he is just taking on a new form. He's been the guy to beat every week.
Once he put that Black Cat on that car, yeah, that performance, that car has woke up. But hey, you know what? Let's go back to the storyline here we've been talking about. Courtney Nelson has reeled in significantly both Koska and McDaniel here. We're talking maybe a lap or two from now. Nelson's got to be within draft range, if not right there pressuring McDaniel.
He's still going to have to get by Hislop, though, who, looking at him,
and then Hislop's going to have to fall, seconds. Too.
Yeah, he's 35 seconds behind James Hislop right now. So I mean, he is going to need all sorts of things to go his way. And sadly, it's going to have to all go against the 92 here. He's going to need to suffer some serious misfortune if Courtney wants to get himself into the chase.
Yeah, but it's fascinating watching Courtney run these two guys down. I mean, it's I'm kind of watching, and you know, and frankly, I'm wondering if this is where he's probably making up a lot of time, which I'm almost certain it is. But he's using more of the track than the other guys are. I mean, you know, especially over before you get on the NASCAR, he's on that red and white part of that track more than the other guys, and you know. That's got to just be making up all kinds of time, especially like right down through here. If you watch, they get out, but he goes way out almost to the grass.
Yeah, he's, I mean,
and that
these guys that flirt with track limits.
Yeah, and McDaniel, I mean, that just right there is where he closed right up on McDaniel, going out all the way out to the grass right there.
No, and that's where, you know, to my point earlier, where he's one of those guys used to hanging it out through there, and you get up behind a slower guy. I mean,
yeah,
so, you know, you can really upset the handling, and it's, you know, when a guy like Greg McDaniel gets behind Courtney and sees, oh, he's doing this with the car through that section, sometimes the light bulb can go off, and you realize, hey, maybe I'm under driving this thing a little bit. But yeah, Greg made it easy here. He knows he's looking pretty good here in the points. So why not let Courtney go here? Try to go run down James Hislop, but he has absolutely got to go here. He's got 17 more laps to do it.
Yeah, and Hislop is looks like he's getting on the track right now, come back on the NASCAR. So he's just to give everybody perspective, Nelson is basically the entire infield behind Hislop. So that's the amount of distance he's got to make up.
And Hislop still, I mean, you can see, we'll be able to see a little bit here when this rotates. Isaac's right in front of him. He hasn't been able to get close enough here to make the move, but he's maintained, and I think that's just kind of showing the discipline here of Hislop. He knows probably, if I bring this home P4, I mean, a miracle's got to happen for me not to make the chase here. So I would think a lot more of this, John, is, you know, maybe Hislop, he's probably got a little more pace, but he's not willing to unleash it. There's no need to right now.
Well, with that 8-point difference coming in, not only does Nelson need to catch Hislop, Nelson needs to pass 3 or 4 other guys to get that between them. And he's just not from where James is running here. So he just needs to maintain, and he's golden here. But again, a lot of laps, a lot of corners. You still got to be mistake-free here. Fencing it or getting off track, you know, looping a car around. A lot of things everything can change on a dime.
I'll tell you what, you led me in there perfect, John, because I was looking at something. You mentioned the word off track. Well, I can't see all the driver's incident points, so I don't necessarily have access to that, but my software will tell me that James Hislop has one off track. And John, you're not getting the perfect no, you know, incident point bonus, but that's 78 right now. He has 0 off tracks. here. So, and oh man, what happened with Jerry Isaacs? He just overshot, I believe, the bus stop. Was there any contact between him and Hislop there? There may have been in the bus stop. If there wasn't, I have no idea how Hislop missed him. Oh my gosh, dude. Hislop, John, that may have just absolutely saved this season. I don't know how he did that shot to the curb to avoid that 51. That is, I mean, that's one of the best moves I've ever seen. And he had to do it, I mean, in the snap of a finger, he had to do that.
That was great driving by both drivers. I mean, Hislop that's coming down into, well, you know, the fastest braking zone on the track, has a car sitting sideways. But Isaac, who made the mistake to get sideways, didn't worsen the situation. He drove through it, let the car roll where he needed it to roll. And Isaac's, both of them, they're really nice driving from both of them.
Here we go. This is for position. Courtney Nelson right on the back of Andrew Kotska. Kotska says, I ain't going to pull over for you. You're going to earn this thing. He drives it in there. Good rotation. Going to make the 78 try to get a drive here. You see he uses up all the racetrack like John was referring to. Going to really open up that steering wheel. Let it coast out. Goes a full car length out. Higher than Kotska. Tries to dive in that apex here. He's going to need to swoop to the outside, try an undercut here. Does he do it? No, Kotska goes pretty defensive.
Yep, he's got to run.
Oh, man. Let's see. Kotska going to stay to the outside here. He says, yeah, you got me. You got me. Good move, Courtney. Oh, Kotska gets a little loose there under braking. What a save from him. Wow. I thought he was going to end up in the back seat of the 78 there. You know, you let that fast guy go by you, John. Sometimes you zone out. You miss your braking point a little bit. Man, Kotska did a great job of really bringing that handle back to him.
Yeah, now the next car for the 78 there of Nelson is going to be Dwayne MacArthur, and he's about halfway through the infield section right now.
He's about 13 seconds ahead here, so Courtney going to absolutely need to continue sawing away. And even that last lap with making the pass here, running behind Kotska, 124.45, almost a full second faster than your leader, who is clearly just kind of in coast mode. He's running 125.
We got one that just wrecked in front of Nelson.
Is that Scott Negus? They're able to gather it back in. Negus, man. The Roval has not treated the McDonald's machine nice here. Oh, that's because it doesn't have McDonald's on it. He put Motorcraft on it. That's what he gets here. You bring back the golden arches, Negus. I'm hearing Courtney Nelson may have made some contact with the wall here. I'm going to try to do a little forensic investigating myself here. It gets pretty close. Doesn't go up and touch it from what I could see here. It does get pretty close.
Well, we've seen him pushing. I mean, getting out to the grass down there, the one. I mean, he's using all of the track, and his lap times are reflecting him really, really pushing things quite a bit. And we got a
Brian Lynch. Yeah, Brian Lynch blew the motor somehow. How did that happen?
Damage on the nose somewhere and just finally overheated.
Yeah, anxious to see what I see here.
Just don't see that very often, though, do we?
No, and you know what, John? I think he may have had a shifter problem. He is going down the backstretch into the bus stop, and all of a sudden he goes to, you know, it looks like he starts downshifting, the wheels hop, and plumes of smoke shoot out of the back of that 9 machine. And yeah, he's still limping it around, but that's all she wrote for Brian Lynch, and that's a tough way to end a pretty good season there for the 9.
Yeah, I mean, he still gets to show up next week in Vegas and race, so it'll be all about winning now from here on in.
Yeah, now you just get to play spoiler. That's almost, you know, yes. I mean, you gotta try to find an angle, and that's almost a little more fun here. Maybe you work to get a teammated trophy. You know, this is where kinds of games start being played here, John.
Yeah, and the thing is, you want to go in the off season feeling good about where you're at, what you've accomplished. So those wins can carry you through the off season, and when we get back and fire them off in Daytona, if you want to last one of the last few races, trust me, it comes back and you start feeling good again.
I'll tell you what, you clicked that at the perfect time, Ryan. Your leader just passed that smoking Brian Lynch. Brian was heads up there aware. If he didn't get to the inside there going through the bus stop, oh, man, we were going to have a big one, and it was going to involve your leader because he was rolling up on the 9. Daniel Hill, he's about to cross the start-finish line now, 11 laps to go. And Tom Ogle, you see him rolling out a 4. He is a ways back, 13, almost 14 seconds here. So, Tommy, just looking to bring home the P2 spot. I think he's trying to talk to you tonight, John.
Yeah, I would say so. And I'll give you another update. We got another one that's dropped out here, and that's Shane Wisman is taking it back to the pit area, effectively ending his night.
Tom Ogle there barreling in to call that, what are we, turn 2, I guess, maybe turn 3, and now Hislop enters where we just saw Tom enter. So he is just going on that straightaway as Tom turns off it. And I mean, Hislop close enough here that maybe, he starts trying this all away. And John, maybe right now having that carrot dangling in front of him isn't good here for the 92, because if he just brings it home where he is, I mean, he's in the show.
Yeah, and not only the carrot dangling out in front, but he is the carrot to Jerry Isaac, who's right behind him,
And it's interesting, too. I mean, Isaacs, he had kind of led the way there out of that twosome early on. Hislop would hang around that second and a half back, but after the mistake, Isaacs just kind of lost touch with Hislop. I mean, he's about 2.5 seconds back, and I mean, Isaac's another one right now. It should be comfortably in. The chase doesn't really need any big thing to happen, and I would assume he's another one just, I mean, really, John, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. With 10 laps to go here, you're not going to see any big-time moves from those guys. They just need it to end the way it is.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, do you think any of them, including Hill, think any of them are thankful there's not actual stage breaks in this thing?
Yeah, that is interesting. And, I mean, obviously no full course cautions, but something for them to maybe spin on here, maybe next season at the road courses, you throw in one stage
iRacing's supposedly working to bring stage racing in, but as they're talking about that, folks at NASCAR, the power to be, I think there may be some changes. I don't know if they're going to change the stage breaks, but definitely changing how the points are tallied up.
Oh, there the leader kisses the wall a little bit. Not a lot. Just, I've never heard of the Charlotte stripe, but maybe he felt like he just needed to kiss that wall a little bit as he goes around the lap car. Coming to 9 laps to go here. Didn't even leave a mark on that right side. What am I saying? That may have even been a little net code. He's just using up all the racetrack here, John.
Yeah, I think he's getting a big enough lead where he could hop out and maybe go turn some laps across the street at the dirt track. And then get back in the car and finish the race and still win.
See Tom Ogle crossing the line. James Hislop crossing the line now. Here comes Jerry. Oh, little slide waves there. He gathers it back in, screeches the tires though, and now Jerry, you may be thinking, all right, calm down. I'm happy with 4th here. I just need to bring this thing home. As Dwayne McCarthy, you watch him, and there's
Nelson's close.
4 seconds. Yeah, 4 seconds, John. He's right there.
Yeah, he's close significantly.
Dwayne's another one. Now, obviously, he's okay. I would think he came in tonight, 18-point gap between Nelson and Medlin. So he is going to be just fine. So I would think here with Courtney coming up on him, I mean, it's not if, it's when he gets to him, John. I don't think we're going to see the general put up too big a fight here because, I mean, realistically, Courtney, gives him a little tap in the right rear. That makes stuff interesting. So you may just want to let him go on by.
Yeah. Christian Lushin isn't that far up the road, but I just don't know that Nelson's going to have the time to get to both of them.
Yeah, not only get to them, but as we've mentioned, his lap will need that mistake if they want to get there. And James he's been great here tonight. He's really been great all season. Hasn't been that guy necessarily collecting checkered flags, but he's been collecting top tens. And you do that, you get a little bit of lady luck on your side here at the end of the season. I mean, we've got some, I believe, John, you're a little better with the NASCAR schedule than me, but I mean, we even have Super Speedway, don't we? Yeah, we've got Vegas, Talladega, and then, I mean, the tricky Martinsville. I mean, really, anything can happen here if you just get your name in the hat.
Well, yeah, especially with Talladega. That's the wildest of wild cards there. So much can happen that you have no control of. That'll be a fun one. And Martin, I mean, they're all going to be fun. They're always fun here with this group. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting round. And the margin for error is going to get a little narrower. Yeah, not as many cars involved and everything else. You're going to get harder to move on to that Final Four. But I'll tell you, after this race wins, if you win it, that means you are racing for a championship on the final week. So the wins those will be the biggest wins of the season here in the next round.
Yep. I mean, it's definitely a change from my childhood, but man, it's an excitement that, you never really had. I mean, there were some times when I was growing up, Jeff Gordon would have that thing won with 2 weeks left in the season, John, or, Dale Earnhardt, and I mean, now we come down, everything on the table here the final week, 4 guys. I know we're looking ahead, but man, that is, with this group of guys, that is going to be probably the most exciting race I've yet to call here in my iRacing career. These guys
we got to pass.
Good. And
MacArthur's got, Johnson just got around him.
Yeah, the general, he did not put up a fight there. He maybe heard us. He said, I don't need moved out of the way for any reason. I'll let this guy go on by here. And it's a little bittersweet there for Courtney. You pass some of the guys that are probably going to continue on. You've had a great season, but just one of those guys that bad luck struck him. I mean, tough race 2 weeks ago. Last week, I think first DNF, John.
Time.
And then the penalty tonight. This is just, I mean, so many things went against that 78 here as the year closed out. But it's still, Courtney doesn't take away, man. This guy is going to be a contender in this series for years to come.
Well, and the improvement he's shown, too, over the year, he's got to be really excited moving into next year, too. I mean, I don't want to write his obituary here. There's still some laps here to go and whatnot, but just from where he is now to where he was, especially on the oval side of things, he was always a really good road racer, but I've seen a lot of improvement. I think Sean Foltz, he's moving on to the next round, but I think, most improved driver since we started, I think falls between, he, Sean Foltz, and maybe even James Islop. Yeah,
that's actually, you stole it from me. I was going to say, don't forget about that 92, because I mean, he was one of those guys that I would say, and this James probably be honest, about 15th to 10th early on, and then, about week 7 or so, the top 10s just started to click, and momentum fell in his side. I believe he got 1 win this season even. Maybe not, but I thought he picked up a regular season win.
Yeah, in the series,
terrible, but I want to give the first Martinsville win to Tom Ogle. I think. Yeah,
and well, you know what? This series has 10 or 15 guys that can win on any given Sunday. Maybe even 15 to 20 guys that can actually win if everything goes perfect. You got 5 or 6 that you just know you're going to have to contend with every week. 5 or 6 guys that are going to be fighting for that top 5 week in and week out. They may not always finish there, but at some point they're fighting for it. But that next tier in there that capable of winning and fighting for top 10s. Yeah, there's a whole lot of those guys, and that part of the field has gotten even closer than what it was at the beginning.
You see that 7 rolling around here. We got about 4.5 laps to go here as he gets ready to roll out here through the long turns Well, I guess we can't. You know, I'm going to call them turns 1 and 2 because that's what they are in the NASCAR track. I just don't know what else to say there. Is rolls down into the bus stop, and
You call them NASCAR 1, NASCAR 2. That's,
there we
not
go.
the infield. I mean, yeah, that's what I call them.
And Daniel looked like he almost slapped that inside wall there again. He is, oh man, those fast guys, they amaze me. I mean, I always ask the GT3 guys how they do it. It's just unbelievable. They never turn it down. They ride the limit all the time. And you'd think right now, I mean, Daniel, he's got 15 seconds. I mean, he could run 126s here for the rest of the way and be okay, but he is just ready to go. See James Hislop there. Now back to Jerry Isaacs. He is not really close enough here. Isaacs is kind of let the leash go. Not going to be able to run down Hislop, I would think, without a little mistake. And Lushin, another one here. He's pretty far up the road over Courtney Nelson. 6 seconds. I mean, if anybody can make up 6 seconds in 4 laps, it's Courtney Nelson. But sadly, that top 5 finish won't be enough for the 78. And I just can't stress. He is right now the 78. He is 43 seconds behind your leader, and that is with an extra pit stop. I mean, the drive that Courtney Nelson has put on here, trying to get himself back into this thing, is impressive. Once again, just not looking to be enough. And behind him, Dwayne MacArthur. He is going to proudly take the 7th position and just say he survived the road course into the next round because
we got one around coming out of the hairpin.
Who we got? Andy Thomas going around here as the 6 machine straightens it back out. Let's see, does he just get a little bit of wheel hop? Went off the corner. Yep, just gets a little happy, trying to pick up the throttle and goes around, but no harm, no foul. Only guy spinning, and it did help Alan Wanamaker, I think, get a spot. I think he passed Andy Thomas out of it.
And Zach, just to kind of upgrade the attrition list, Brian Lynch, his championship run officially comes to an end here. He's taking it behind the wall. But Nelson just about wrecked coming into that trouble zone. But Nelson has cut that lead, or not cut the lead, but cut that distance between he and Lushin in half, and there's still 2 laps to go.
I think Courtney's going to get there. I wonder if Lushin, I mean, realistically, he doesn't have much to race for, not in the playoffs here anymore, but yeah, I think he'd want that top 5. This would be a good rebound for him, and I think if Courtney gets there, this is going to be one that Courtney has to work for. I don't think Christian's just going to pull one over out of the way for this one.
No, not for a top 5 and not with 2 laps to go.
2 sticks in the air, though, John. 2 laps to go. Daniel Hill crosses the line, and we're about 3 minutes away here from declaring that 7 your winner. I mean, a lot would need to go wrong here for Daniel to not bring this one home. Not that I, want to add some excitement, but he is 16 seconds up the road. Maybe we get a blown right front tire on the last lap, and he wins it Lewis Hamilton style with 3 tires on that thing.
I would say maybe we get a rain shower and they got to drive around on slicks, but I don't see any rain clouds out there, so.
Oh, wouldn't that have been something? That would have been unbelievable here if this thing got some rain halfway through.
It would.
Right now, what's that gap between Lushin and Nelson looking like it's still enough? I don't think he's going to get there.
Lushin would have to get off track or really probably lose something. But, I mean, Nelson's definitely got to see him out his windshield. And like I said, like you've said many times here, probably kind of going to be left to play that what-if category.
Yeah, because, I mean, he definitely he has that pace. And, I mean, we've seen it every road course we've gone to. But the white flag set the wave, John. 1 lap to go here, and Daniel Hill takes it. And we'll watch the 7 roll around for a little bit. We won't bore you too much, but to be honest, there aren't many battles on the racetrack. What you're looking at, I mean, unless somebody maybe, you know, had a little fuel calculation error, didn't want to fill the thing up, it shouldn't get very interesting here. Drivers should kind of finish where they're slotted.
Plus, Daniel Hill's probably earned a little TV time here.
Yeah, and, you know, his last lap was one of the faster ones he's run out of the last 6 or 7 laps, too. So he started.
Well, and I think that comes to rhythm. I honestly think that comes to rhythm, not so much trying to push. I mean, you know, I've done enough road racing to know I seem to go slower the more I push, but when I just relax and I just kind of get into a rhythm, moving around in my seat, you know, my feet or hands are all communicating well, I go faster when I'm just kind of hanging out and relaxing.
Well, he rolls through the bus stop there for the final time. You'll watch him roll through NASCAR 3 and 4. He'll crank it down into the trouble zone for the final time on the brakes. Got him even cutting it there. The Black Cat, Daniel Hill, 2 wins in round 2, and he's going to be the top dog when we roll into Vegas next week. Daniel Hill wins at the Roval here at Charlotte. Tom Ogle coming through the tri-oval now. He crosses the charity stripe in P2. James Hislop coming through here third. As I should have made a starter camera so I could pose here. Oh, Ryan does. Look at him. Look at him. Here we go. Now I just got to figure out. There goes Isaacs. Lushin rolling through here as he's coming across.
Right behind him.
Yeah, Courtney, he did. He ran him down. That's going to be a what if for the 5-hour energy machine. Here comes the general, Dwayne MacArthur. Now, Andrew Kotska behind a little bit. These two are going to be the last guys on the lead lap. So we won't cut away yet. Okay, well, I meant Ryan cut away to commercial. We'll let him finish out here. You know, you see the Daniel rolling around. He'll make his way over here. Oh, Tom Embassy, little hiccup there crossing the start line. Kotska goes around him. It's Daniel Hill. Take a little bit of time to celebrate here. What do you say? We take a little bit of time here, boys. We step away for a couple minutes. We'll let the drivers get a drink, maybe run to the bathroom. I know that's what I'm going to do here. And we'll be right back on the Virtual Grip Network with your interviews from your top 3 and your final rundown. Stick around. We are back live on the Virtual Grip Network after 55 laps here at the Roval. Going to close out round number 2, and while the results aren't official, I would think, we kind of know who's going to advance to the next round. And, well, Daniel Hill, 2 wins here in this round. He's definitely moving on. Tom Ogle coming home P2. He should be there. James Hislop, after a fight for the podium, brings it home 3rd. He should be in as well. Isaacs moving on. Lushin, not there. Courtney Nelson, not looking too good for him here. He's coming home P6. Dwayne MacArthur should move on. Kotska coming home 8th. He should move on as well. McDaniel should advance, coming home 9th. And Andrew Medlin, not looking good here. He's going to bring it home 10th, and I think he's going to be out of the party next week, John.
Alan Wanamaker finishes 11th. Andy Thomas 12th. Scott Negus, who we saw have an up-and-down day for sure, he's able to rally for 13th. Torrance Childs 14th. Shane Wistman, I believe he'll be the first one. I think that first one, I think, didn't even finish the race there, so the rest will all be attrition here. Brian Lynch 16th, Tom Massey 17th, Dakota Pischke 18th, Chris Hazlip 19th, David Brand in 20th. And I guess I'll round out the rest of the field here. Yeah, 21st is Todd Cousins, 22nd, Robert Garisco.
Yeah, I think Crisco, he may have been here just to, maybe help admin a little bit tonight. I don't know if he wanted to go out there and race.
Mark.
He never went out there and took a lap here, but let's go ahead, man. Let's waste no time. We'll bring up the 3rd place finisher, James Hislop. Shaggy in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
I'll tell you what, James, I'm no mathematician, and I know you did get an off track here tonight, so you won't get the bonus point, advantage there, or the bonus points for 0 incidents. But I would assume, man, bringing home the podium, you should be in round 3. I mean, how are we feeling after a long race?
Yeah, I feel all right. I think I beat Courtney by like 3 points onto the next round, my teammate. So spun out that first half of the race, and I thought I was kind of screwed there, but ended up working out okay.
Yeah, and, obviously every point matters, and you were one of the guys, you had that mistake early that you mentioned, but you came down pit road a little earlier than some of those other guys, and I think, that maybe helped you. I don't know how much you noticed, but you were able to get by Dwayne there on the short pit. You get right up behind Jerry, and you're able to get by Christian as well. I mean, how much do you think the short pit maybe helped you here tonight?
I think it helped me quite a bit. I mean, I knew I was really good on the long run, so I really wasn't concerned about pitting a few laps early there.
Yeah, and, I don't know who your crew chief is, but we highlighted it, man. Whenever you made that stop and you came out, you had nothing but clean air. I mean, you had that other lap car pit with you, but as soon as you were able to get around him, nothing but clean air, and you're able to run quick times and used it to your advantage, James. Congratulations on bringing home the P3, and, well, congratulations to moving on. You got anybody you want to thank on the great race?
I just want to thank you guys and Victor and everybody involved putting the show on every Sunday.
Well, hey, heck of a run, James. Good luck, man. I believe we're going to Vegas here as I let my thumb slip off. Going to Vegas next week. So good luck, brother. We'll be rooting for you.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
James Hislop bringing home P3. Now my partner's going to... Well, you've talked to this guy a lot this season here, John. He's had a lot of second-place finishes.
Yes,
Well,
I have.
Yeah, and you've also been on the podcast too, so we're old friends now, I think.
Sure.
I tell you what, coming into a race that's, lack of a better term, it's a landmine. There is a lot of things that can go wrong here, a lot of turns. The smallest mistake can really cost big. What was your thought process? I mean, you knew you're probably going to have the pace to be top 5, probably. What was your mindset coming into this night?
Just survive, not make any mistakes. I practiced this week, and then I ran the NIS race yesterday, the noontime one, and I qualified second. And I almost started in the pits because I didn't want somebody to ruin my race by wrecking on the first lap. But then I was like, well, I qualified second, so I'll be in front of it. But it ended up being me. Like going into turn 1, I spun out and blocked the track. So I was like, I don't want that to happen. So I just kind of went easy at the beginning, and then I started getting some pace, and I just basically was wanting to stay on the track, not make any mistakes, not get any damage, and be there at the end and see what I had.
I've got to ask, having that experience yesterday, that probably had to raise the anxiety level, at least to start here tonight, didn't it?
Well, that's why I kind of just let Dwayne go. He kind of dive bombed me a little bit.
Yeah, we saw it.
I was like, all right, I guess you're going to go hard. And then I just kind of followed him because I was on to the next round anyhow, and I knew he had to be more aggressive. So I just kind of didn't want to get caught up in somebody else's stuff or cause my own problems, you know? Just consistent laps, 124s, 125s, run them lap after lap. And once I knew I couldn't catch Dan, I kind of could just manage my race.
Well, you know what? Let's look forward now. You know that you're going on to the next round. And the next round, you know those wins. Getting a win the next round will be your biggest win of the year, period, because it's going to allow you to go run for a championship. So
Yes.
We're going to Vegas. Game time now. Game face is on. What are you thinking on Vegas?
I'll be okay there. Again, with this car, dirty air is terrible. So if you're not leading, you kind of have to manage your race and try and wait for a mistake. But then we go to Martinsville, and that's one of my favorite tracks. And I'm pretty good there. So I like my chances there. Talladega is a crapshoot. You know what I mean?
Wildest of wild card.
Yes, I mean, who knows? Anyone can win there. You know what I mean? So I think Martinsville and just have a good run at Vegas. But it would be nice to just get a win at Vegas and then coast. You know what I mean? It would like have that monkey.
Will you be? Tom, let me ask you real quick. Will you be any more aggressive, maybe at Vegas? You know, and not so much like moving people all the way, but just maybe either race strategy or just how hard you push. Will you be more aggressive there?
After Kansas and losing the lead and seeing the difference in the car, I will fight. If I have the lead, I'm going to fight tooth and nail. Like, clean air is so important that you can't risk not having it. So I will definitely fight for clean air.
Well, man, we look forward to seeing you fight next week. Anybody want to give a quick shout out to?
Just all the guys that run the league, Victor and all the admins. You know what? Also, a lot of guys came out and ran this race. We had a good turnout for a road course, and I know a lot of guys don't like it, but they still sucked it up and came and ran the race. And like when I first started in the league, like I would just kind of try to survive road courses, and I just kind of decided I got to get proficient at it. But the key is showing up, and a ton of guys showed up, and I like that. I like guys who take on the challenge. So I want to give all those guys a shout out that aren't necessarily comfortable with it, but decided just to embrace the pain.
Well, just not embrace the pain, but come be a part of the league. And
yeah,
when they don't have anything running for tonight. So
yeah, I mean,
awesome to see that.
It'd be easy to skip this horrible track and horrible car and not show up and just say, well, I'm not in the points. But a ton of guys showed up and just tried and worked at it, and that's the only way you'll get better too, you know? So that's really who I want to give a shout out to.
Well, awesome, buddy. Well, we'll see you next week. We wish you the best of luck for the rest of the playoffs here.
Thank you.
That's Tom Ogle, our runner-up here from the Charlotte Roval, or the horrible track, as he likes to call it. But, you know, Zach, you got the winner here, and he's making this a habit.
Yeah, man, the Black Cat. I'm telling you, Daniel Hill, this is unbelievable. I mean, you knew that, whether you want to admit it or not, you knew you were going to be one of the guys to beat tonight, especially with Courtney having that penalty. But what you couldn't have known is that, you know, he was going to get another one. He had to stop twice there, and that was just going to open it up for you. I mean, early on, you felt some pressure. But, Daniel, what was it, man, that just brought this thing to life? You walked away. I mean, 20 seconds up the road, dude. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm quick at road courses. This isn't usually one of my better road courses. You know, it's it's easy to make a mistake here, and so that doesn't really suit my style too much, obviously. But I just was trying to be as patient as I could, and I was trying to just focus on not upsetting the balance of the car on the bumps, because that's really where I think I was making my hay, was that I wasn't getting a lot of wheel spin, especially exiting the corners.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of guys, especially coming out of that hairpin, and I want to talk about that hairpin a little bit. I mean, I assume, Daniel, do you do any road course racing, any GT3 style stuff?
I mean, I have. I don't do it a ton, but I do it from time to time.
Well, John and I were talking. The only reason I ask is, NASCAR is kind of a newer variation, this racetrack, not doing that full right-hand turn on the inside and then having that hairpin go into the backstretch. I mean, is that something you kind of had to practice, or did it maybe feel a little more comfortable for you this go-round than the old layout they used to run?
I'm definitely not a fan of blind corners like that. It took me a while to kind of figure it out, and really what I figured out was just brake a lot and go through it slow. I just try to take my time on the front side of the corner and really focus on trying to get as straight as I could, as soon as I could, so I could put the power down that long backstretch. But it took me a while because it's so easy to lock up the front brakes there. And it was really weird. Like, I had tried going through there in first and then tried going through there in second, and I finally just settled on, I'm just going to take it really slow and run it in second, and then just hope that plays out well.
Well, I mean, the math's adding up here. John says it all the time, slow in, fast out. That's exactly what you were able to do, Dan. I mean, you felt the pressure a little early on, but like I say, once you got your rhythm, man, you walked away, and 20 seconds up the road, that's something to write home about. Heck of a run, Daniel. And with 2 wins here in round 2, I mean, we've got Vegas, Talladega, and Martinsville coming up. I mean, can we expect a couple more here and lock yourself into that championship run?
I'm not too sure. This is probably this coming set of 3 races, probably not my best. I'm pretty good at Martinsville, but Vegas, I'm not really good at a lot of the cookie cutters. I'll probably I'll need to be clean there, but Dega, you just never know what's going to happen, and that's the scary one that could make or break you.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it is going to be important to kind of nurse your way through, and hopefully we don't have the big one, but at least, Daniel, you've done your part, man. You pick up the win here tonight. Like I say, 2 out of 3. I mean, that's a heck of a round for you. Congratulations, Black Cat. You got anybody you want to thank before you get out of here?
Oh, yeah, as always, everybody over at VLS, Chris Bates and Victor Lane and all those guys. And then I got to give a shout out to Courtney Nelson. He actually, we actually were communicating earlier this week and really kind of going over some strategy stuff and, what we're doing in different corners and stuff. And, and he really kind of helped me out a lot. And so I gotta give him a shout out. Shout out to my wife for letting me race, and shout out to you guys. Your guys' broadcast is amazing. I always enjoy going back and watching it. And a shout out to all the sponsors and all the league admins that allow us to come out here and do this, because there's really no better place than iRacing to do this.
Well, hey, I don't want to burst your bubble, Dan, but you may not like this one. When you get out front by 15 seconds, we don't show you a whole bunch. But, man, congratulations on the big win, and I look forward to seeing what you can do here round 3. Go get them next week, brother.
10-4, buddy. Thanks a lot, guys.
Daniel Hill bringing home the win here at the Roval. And, I mean, John, 55 laps, no mistakes out of that man. Mr. Momentum is 100% in his corner going into Vegas.
Yeah, and I do hope he carries it through, because, I mean, these guys have all worked really hard and deserve it. But you know what? If you look through the season, Dwayne MacArthur got on a roll. What did he win, like 4 out of 5? Koska seemed to have a little bit of a role there. It seems like these guys are, Ogle, I think, put a few together. These guys that are coming down to it here in this final 8, I don't want to say streaky, because they've all been consistent. But, the guys winning, though, it seems like they've kind of gone in cycles here. Like somebody almost hits on something, or they figure something out. with a feel or something or whatever, and then they parlay that to a couple of wins. That's going to be the biggest challenge right now for Hill, is keeping it going. These are just too good. There's too many good guys in here to think that it's going to be a cakewalk.
1,000%. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what is coming up next. I mean, you already know next Sunday, Las Vegas. We've talked about it a bunch. You better be here 8 p.m. But John, new episode. Can you give me any hints at what's coming out Tuesday?
Well, we talked to one of OBRL's very own, Brian McRae, I'll tell you, we had a conversation today all about equipment and different types of things that used, and kind of, what things made the biggest difference, what things that didn't. I mean, it's a really neat conversation for anybody that's just gotten into sim racing. Can hear some perspective from basically a group of guys that have been doing this for a while and seen a lot of different things improve, and even get a little advice along the way here. So it was a pretty neat episode today.
You can see lots of short track racing coming up. I thought I was on this Tuesday. I'm off for another Tuesday. You got Sonoma coming up, another road course. So make sure, you tune in this week. Lots of racing going on. But for now, we are going to wrap it up here with the OBRL YesterYear Racing Cup Series. I'd like to thank my partner, John Hine, the dude in the back, Ryan Seneca, and last but not least, we at the Virtual Grip Network want to thank all of you for tuning in. Have a great night.